Well, this will be a good thing to look back on one day. Sex. So I should talk a little bit about that journey because I grew up in the 70s and it was free love and there was no hang-ups or STDs or anything. It was just fun. And it was non-committal and everybody, male and female, was in favor of it. So then I had this religious experience, and then I had said that all of this sex was wrong and I should stop doing it, and it was a sin, and so I became a Christian. And I met this girl that wanted to have kids, and she was kind of attractive, but I specifically did not have sex with her because I thought she would be a good mother and a good wife. And I didn't want my kids to one day come up to me and say, "Hey, well, you had sex with mom, and you had me." And it was just different then. Like you had to get married, and oh my God, it was just so religious. So I specifically, she even made some moves. I thought, well, she's told me she's going to be good in bed, and so what a surprise. She was like real religious. I mean, she did not want to have sex to spill the seed. And I spilled the seed. Wait, yeah, you want to have sex to propagate the race, but otherwise there's no reason for sex. So we probably had sex 10 times to have 4 kids. I don't know. Oh my God. So and she'd tell me when the rhythm was right and when it was good. And I mean, she got pregnant on her wedding night, the first time we had sex, and we had Sarah exactly 9 months later. Well, actually, eight and a half, because she came a little bit early. She was, oh, I think her. But anyway, so I thought it was going to be great sex with her. And there was one time I touched her down below, and she goes, "Oof, yeah, I had a friend of mine that liked that, but for me, it's like rubbing your fingernails across the chalkboard. It's just, oh, well, that's unpleasant. I don't want to do that again." And so I thought, well, this is the bed I let in, and I believe in marriages forever. This is what I'm going to do. Fortunately for me, she did bring up divorce at the end, and when she said it this time, my kids were bigger. Well, she said it one other time too when I was at a strip club, and but that scared me because my kids were little, and like, oh, can't, no, and so finally I got back in there, and she forgave me, and so. But the second time she said it, we'd been married for 20 years, and the kids were bigger, and I go, yep, it makes sense. And I had no reaction to it whatsoever. It cost us a couple $100 a piece, and with the lawyer fee, she had a lawyer from friend that at church, and I mean, my God, it was just a little bit more than the paperwork to get a divorce, but it was like nothing. It's like $500 a piece total, and I made all the credit in her name and everything. But anyway, so I dated around for about 5 years. I thought I must be horrible in bed because you know I couldn't even have sex with my wife for 20 years. It was just like wow. Like I would say a majority of the marriage was sexless. And then I married a girl for love, and this time I wasn't thinking about marrying her, but I definitely was. she was my girl, and I was her man, and we would have sex 2 or 3 times a day, and it was just she was a perfect wife for like 5 years. Then she punched out and pulled all the hot buttons, and then she didn't want to have sex anymore. I go, well, the last 30 times I made love to her, went down on her, and she came every time, and so I thought, well, she's going to miss that. She's going to want to come back to that, but she never did. And now I've since learned a lot of that movement. Now I'm surrounded by all these girls that for like $20 I could have sex with, a beautiful 30-year-old perfect model, that with a great personality, but I don't want to. I saw this video where Jim Carrey, because he had talked about opening his third eye, and your third eye is in the center of your brain, and most of it has calcium around it, and from brushing your teeth with fluoride, and it doesn't have any veins to it, so it kind of looks like a pebble in most people's head, but it is very important, and because it's the antenna for your relationship with the source. So it's an antenna that's directly connected to that. So you see a wider lens when you have that. There was the colostrum is where it starts, and then it goes down, and so what Jim Carrey did, was to talk about the name claws came from the colostrum, and the serum or the it goes down, and if you reject it, if you not reject it, you turn it away, it goes back up the 33 vertebrae, 33 years of Christ, 33 vertebrae, and it's called Christ oil, and it goes up your spine, and then it separates, and part of it goes to the pituitary gland, and part of it goes to the pineal gland in your brain. The pituitary is the feminine gland, and the pineal, the third eye, is the masculine, and they both talk about each other, and they create these two things. Like the pituitary creates a milky substance when this is after the retention. You decide not to orgasm, and so that creates a milky substance, and the pineal creates a honey-like substance, and it goes into this other section. I'm not sure. It's like for 3 days in the tube. It's like 2 or 3 days, and but this is called the land of milk and honey, and so this after 3 days, it's perfectly imprinted. I mean, it's totally cleared out. There's like nothing to it, but it's imprinted with direct information from God the Father. Then that comes like Santa Claus coming down the chimney. It comes down the chimney, and this is when you get all these gifts, and your third eye is open, and wow, all of a sudden your life is about to really change. The word for orgasm, get this, if you want to take this even further, the word for orgasm in France means little death, little death. And I got to really ponder this, that every time you have an orgasm, oh, I want to go back to what I was saying, but anyway, it turned out that she ended up, um, it made her angry, the fact that I could make her come and she could lose control. And so this made her resentful. What it did to me when I had an orgasm was make me just become a zombie and fall asleep. And she was still like, now she's ready to go because she had an orgasm. When I had an orgasm, it was over. Sex was over. Let's go to bed. And it's so much different now. But anyway, the orgasm means little death because every time you consent to an orgasm, either through masturbation or through sex with another person, and I'm not talking about from the heart and chemistry sex, where you're making love and so forth. I'm talking about mental sex. Let's have sex, boom, 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 whatever. And most of the sex that comes from your head, fetishes, things, these things are this is a mental. It, I have refused to do that anymore. I had enough sex in my life, even though half of my married life of 35 years between two women was sexless. But it wasn't my choice, it was their choice. And I wanted to have sex with them, but I thought, well, shit, that's why you get married. You can have sex whenever you want. But it's, oh, and I had this belief system that I wouldn't cheat on them. It was just strange, but anyway, I never want to live with a woman again. I'm not good. I just give my power away to them, and it's just stupid. So I have no desire to ever. I mean, I think we live in a feminine universe, and I think women are rising, and I think they'll rise here first in Asia because they embrace their femininity, and the ones in the West are still trying to figure out if they are a woman in a man's world with a man suit and a boss bitch, or they're, yeah, jeez, they deny their femininity to become more like a man. You're going to be more like a man than a man. It makes no sense. Or if a guy tries to be more of a woman than a woman, yeah, try menstruating. Try having a baby. The whole infection idea of screwing up the sexes is weird, but I do believe that every time you have an orgasm, getting back to that, you are consenting to a physical death of the carbon body. You're giving a little bit more consent to, okay, someday you're gonna die. And you don't realize it, but subconsciously, every time you have an orgasm, it's a little death. It's a little bit closer to death. So I I like the idea of just letting it go and see if it goes up your spine, and Santa Claus comes down with all the gifts and gives it to you. I mean, I love that. I love that idea. So, I mean, it's something's changing me. I don't know, the downloads or whatever, but I think a lot of it has to do with about 6 months ago, I chose not to have an orgasm, and it's surprisingly, I thought I'd get blue balls and think about it, but you think about it less, but probably because of my age. I don't know. But now, when you engage with someone that's really beautiful, that before you would have had sex with, now it isn't sexual at all. It's just a conversation. And it's easier. It takes the pressure off of you when you choose this. It gives you more control of your life. I can't believe how parasitical I was when I'd see a girl. I mean, I beautiful girl walk on the street toward me, and she was perfect. And I go, I mean, I couldn't even breathe. I mean, I had so many tentacles going around into her, trying to go in and find a way. And I thought, I can't love her. I'm parasitical. So when I made that decision not to have sex with any girl. It just doesn't occur to me now. It's just easy. But it's been months since I've done this. I don't know what month it was. Maybe it was a year ago. Maybe it was 6 months ago. I don't know. But it was. But I decided that I was not going to have an orgasm. Now, if I make love to a woman, there is a thing called white tantric sex, and white tantric involves the man not having an orgasm. I don't know how it works for women, but women love white tantric because now you can make love to them for 2 or 3 hours without worrying about an orgasm. And you're making love to them, and after the 2 or 3 hours is over, you have more love for them than you did when you started. Whereas if you had sex, as soon as you have sex with them, it's like, okay, seen you naked, whatever. It's just, it's not, well, I gotta tell you, my ex-wife's attitude was so good for 5 years. I mean, she was a perfect wife, and she just like punched out. I don't know what it was. Something inside just left, and I don't know what it was, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, she gave me my heart back, thankfully. You know, I when I was pruning, she finally found another guy, and she's perfect for her. Thank God. And she released me, and so it was good. But anyway, I hope this helps. Oh, I can tell you that when you do this third eye opening, you could also listen to binaural beats on opening the third eye. But I tried that, and maybe that prepared me for it. I don't know. And you have to listen to it with earphones or headphones because it has one section of the brain is a different frequency, and so it's expanding. And so, like 30 days of listening to binaural beats every day expands your mind so that it remembers, and it's like having 30 years of meditation because that's what happens when you meditate and you expand your mind. So this automatically through technology expands it, but so it's a good idea. And then you just put the pineal gland. I think it's 963. It's like the same Tesla numbers, but I'm not sure. But I listened to that for a while, but I really think this is the most powerful. It's something to do with astrology too. That like when the moon is in your zodiac sign, that time in the month, every 27 days, or I don't know what it is. That's when this. That's when it happens. So I don't know. I don't pay attention to time or zodiac. I'm just doing it until further notice. But I would, if I did find the right woman, the right chemistry, I would do the white tantric because I would increase in love and I would not consent to death. So, and if I really like a girl, this is what's going to happen.